Gospel is the good news. It's the good news about God sending his son Jesus, who came to triumph in this life, who came to live a sinless life, a perfect life, a selfless life. Then he would give his life as a sacrifice on the cross. But he did not just die. He rose again on the third day. Resurrection.
Glad you joined me today. Again, tuned into a video. I've made quite a few videos so far, and I'd like you to check out some of the others. If you enjoy this one, I'm sure you will. I wanted to talk about courage. Many of us face troubles and trials and don't know where we're going or what we're going to do. And I'm going to read one scripture right now. That's Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not tremble or be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Let me share where that's coming from. That is actually God talking to a man named Joshua. It's in the Old Testament, and he is one who takes over for Moses, who delivered the Israelites out of the hands of the Egyptians who had them as slaves. Now, Moses was a mighty man, and he did a lot of miracles for God, through God actually doing him through him. A lot of miracles were performed. Joshua, at this stage, Moses is gone, and he takes over. And you know what? I would be a little apprehensive about what was going on. Him, leader that worked with Moses, but when Moses was gone, he took over. And it was very unique that this time period, the so-called promised land, the land that God had promised the Israelites, was across a mighty river. And in that land, according to the spies that had spied out the land, there were giants, very big people, military leaders, military people. He was going someplace he'd never been before. And he had never led the people, but always assisted Moses in leading the people. So this was scary. And what did God say? Be strong and courageous. I will always be with you. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never led a large group of people. I don't know what's that like, but I do know what it's like to seemingly go into a different country. I'll tell you what, when I began to transition, it was like a whole nother world. And I had lost pretty much everything and everyone I knew before that. It was a new beginning. People tell me I am courageous for having began the transition and then transitioning. I had all kinds of things to do to get to where I am now. Name change was one of them. I didn't even know what to call myself. I wanted to figure out something. My family began to leave me, and I started questioning whether I should go forward or not. Now, yours may not be as dramatic as mine was. But have you ever got up in the morning to face something and you were afraid? You'd rather go back to bed and pull a cover over your head than get up and do what you were supposed to do. You may even pray to God that he would just take it away or make it all work out without you doing anything. But in the end, you had to become strong and courageous. I spoke last week a little bit about how God always was there for me, directing and guiding everything. Now, the only reason I know that is not because it happened, but because I was a thankful person, that I thank God whenever I had a victory. When I got my name changed, that was a victory. When I started getting hormone replacement therapy, that was a victory, and it took effort. These things also cost money. And I didn't know for sure where it was all coming from, having lost my last full-time job and going to a part-time job. But I remembered what God said to Joshua. And this isn't the only verse. There are a number of verses in the first six chapters of Joshua that talk about being strong and courageous and the fact that God would be with them. There was something, I didn't read the next line, but it says, "You follow me, you honor my commands, and I will be there for you, directing you, guiding you, showing you the way." But you need to go forward, and you need to follow God's command. Now, last week, if you'd watched, I would have said that I mentioned the greatest commandment, which Jesus said, of all the 10 commandments and all the rules and laws in the Old Testament, and there are numbers and lots of them, large number of them, in Exodus and Leviticus, and it just goes on, all the different laws for different purposes, but they were all there. But the command that Jesus said was the greatest, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Then he went on to say, what was the second greatest command? And I will tell you, the second greatest command is how you show God how you love him. It is to love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the two commands that are essential to have the Lord on your side, to have God with you. Actually, not on your side. He is not on anyone's side. You need to be on his side, and that's how you get on his side. Okay, again, there are two things to help you be strong enough and courageousness to go forward when you're in a situation you've never been in. Don't know what for sure you're going to do or how you're going to handle it. First, trust God, knowing that he'll always be with you. Second, give him thanks. Remember all that he's did for you. For me, I can't get over how much he's given me. I lost most of my family, and he gave me two women who actually are my cousins, and they stepped in place of my sisters who left me completely, shunned me, which means they would not talk to me or have anything to do with me. I thank God all the time for giving me those two that are so close to me, that support me, that care about me. Another one that's very important to me is that despite all that has happened and the fact that my ex divorced me, we are still good friends. We still share with each other. We talk openly to each other about our situations, our feelings, and all. She is close. And that is something to be thankful for in my book. We didn't end up bitter. We didn't end up separating and taking off in two different directions with anger and against each other. Now, some of you may have, if you've come through that. That doesn't mean you can't forgive her or him. Doesn't mean you can't forgive that spouse. Why would you do that? First off, God asked you to. But beyond that, for selfish reasons, if you hang on to the anger, it's like hanging on to a little monster within you. And every time you think about it, it tears into your heart. Yes, you know that. You've had that happen to you when you thought about someone you were so unhappy about, that you were angry about and couldn't let go. It does. You know what it does to them when you do that? Nothing. It doesn't hurt them. You are hanging on to it. They are controlling you. You don't want that. Again, be courageous. Be courageous enough to let it go. God is a judge, and he will judge them. You may never see it in your lifetime, but they will be judged for their wrong unless they ask for forgiveness. You don't need to deal with that. You don't have to get even. Just be who you need to be. Loving your neighbor as yourself. Loving God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Then you will have the courage to get through anything that is put in front of you. Oh, by the way, the Lord said in another scripture, he will not put anything before you that he won't show you the way to get over it, around it, or through it. Remember that. Thank you.